You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hey everybody, welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Sheen and Doug Herbert here, and our good buddy, Clay Millican, joining us. Man, it's great to have you here. This is the benefit of having your buddies racing in your backyard.
Well, I tell you what, I love coming here, love coming on the show, and certainly love stomping on the loud pedal at Z-Max Dragway. I mean, that place is awesome. You know, you get asked all the time, what's your favorite track? And I have a lot of different answers for that, but I tell people that the nicest track we go to in the country by far is Z-Max Dragway. I mean, you know, that doesn't necessarily make it my favorite that I've won at or whatever, but that track is incredible. The surface is great, but pretty much all the SMI tracks are really, really nice. But this one is at the top of the list for me as far as the facility itself.
Yeah.
Well, and we should have some pretty good weather this weekend for some racing. You've had some pretty good luck here. You've been in the finals here at Z-Max, and we're getting down to the time. You're only 4 or 5 rounds. You're not far out of the lead.
No,
so,
I mean,
that can swing real quick.
It's crazy. You know, this whole countdown thing, you know, I can guarantee you, you know, Torrance hates it, and I understand because he had basically an insurmountable lead that was taken down to 30 points. And first countdown race, I beat Stevie first round, which mixed it up for everybody because it took that 30-point advantage he had and turned it into a first-round loss. And then, you know, if I get beat second round and then we go to the next race, I lose by 9 thousandths. You know, me and you were talking off air about how many races this year that we've lost by 0.00 something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just how close the racing is right now. But we're setting in 10th, but I think we're only like 110 points out of the lead. I mean, that's what the countdown does, and that's the benefit of that is it gives us
your car's been running good. You've been going to finals. I mean, you've been, you know, the car's, it's better than a 10th place car.
It is definitely
the way it is.
It definitely is. You know, it's just a matter of turning those 0-0s to our side. You know, that's kind of where it's at. You know, the racing is definitely close. You know, I mean, they threw that balloon out there earlier this year about going back to quarter mile. I don't know that you can make the racing any closer than what it is right now because we're talking the driver on the starting line and the car to the 1,000th matters.
Well, and the expenses to go back to a quarter mile, everybody's budget would increase, I'm guessing, 20%.
20%.
I think
for that
so.
extra bit of distance. Yeah. But that's not going to be every racetrack, though, too, right? It's going to be the ones that can handle it.
That's if it happens. I mean, they're still just talking about it, but I think, you know,
well, I've heard Goodyear say we're out.
Yes, and you know I keep saying they floated a balloon. They put it out on one of the shows that they're talking about going quarter mile. I don't know. I'm getting us sidetracked here, but anyway,
that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. You know,
we've never been straight down the boulevard. Don't worry about it.
I don't drive straight either, even though I should. And you know, but anyway. What the fans haven't been told is if we do indeed go to quarter mile, which I think if they do it, it'll be Gainesville because the track's really, really long, plenty of shutdown room, is they're going to do something to slow the cars down. So we probably will go slower in a quarter mile speed-wise than what we do in 1,000 foot.
Okay, so that's kind of an interesting question, and we brought this up at Speed Sport. We're going to do an article about does speed matter? Still. Now, it sounds crazy, especially having a drag racing conversation about does speed matter? Of course it matters. Well, you don't care if you pedal your way to a win. All you want is the Wally.
Absolutely.
If you did 340 or 240 and you got the Wally, that's all that matters,
that's
right?
all that matters.
Now, speed might matter to the fan because we all like saying, wow, look at that number, right? And in some forms of racing, speed might not matter as much as it does to the drag racing fan. And I totally get that because I love seeing 300-mile-an-hour runs too.
When they went from quarter to 1,000, the ET numbers changed, and everybody, that was hard to get through your head, right? It went from 4-something to 3-something.
Right.
That was hard to get through your head. But it seems like everybody now is adjusted to that.
So I guess, are we thinking about needing to go back to the quarter mile because we want to see bigger numbers? Or is it just that we've got it in our head that drag racing is supposed to be a quarter mile. It's more of a vintage thought that we need to see a quarter mile track.
I think it's a vintage thing, and I think, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but we've raced 1,000 foot for a long time now.
Well, I know the last person that won a quarter mile drag race.
He might be sitting in the room.
I know.
You're looking at him.
I know. And that's been a little while, right? What year?
Look at the gray hair. That'll tell you how long it's been.
I know, right? And the less of the hair, my hairline. I mean, it's old. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the fan is used to 1,000 foot. You know, why confuse it? And sometimes I think, and we all know this, you know, when you get on social media or you start reading comments, you know, you've got people that, oh, it's not the same, it's not quarter mile, it's, you know, those are your complainers that I will bet money are not going to the drag race anyway.
Right.
You know,
well, then they'll be mad if the cars are going slower in a quarter mile. Why are they restricting them? Why?
Yep.
I mean, times have changed. If Goodyear won't support the change, or
the tire just can't handle it.
Yeah, what if Goodyear says we won't do it? Well, they can't. They can't do it because what would happen if there was no tires?
I mean, so if you could run a quarter mile with what you know now, technology-wise, right, and they're pulling the chains off you, and you can run whatever. They're not going to limit you. You just take the current car, dial it for a quarter mile on the right track on the right day. What would your car run?
I honestly don't know, but I mean, it's going to be 350, maybe more. It's a crazy number. I mean, at Reading, we had, I think Ron Cap's car went 338 miles an hour in 1,000 feet.
Well, but what my question is, and we were talking about this earlier too, what if everybody's budget went up 20%? The value of the sponsorship is whatever the number is. The cost to run the car is higher than the value of the sponsorship.
And
so now they would raise the value,
Mm-hmm.
the cost of the running the car that much. The value of the sponsor isn't going to go up any. So where's the money going to come from?
Right, and we might lose
fields.
teams and all of that, right?
I don't know.
If it's
I understand the reason why, you know, quarter mile, we've been doing that since 1900.
Okay, well, maybe we do it. Maybe it becomes Gainesville becomes the one, right?
But
just
then
like we have two that are four wides.
It's like Richard Childress told me a long time ago. Every time NASCAR passed a rule to save me money, it cost me a bunch of money.
Right.
And that would be the same thing as it would cost. Then everybody would be going out testing. What are we going to do for this quarter mile thing? And it's going to cost everybody a bunch of money. Because
you're going to do it once a year too, right? So then you're going to have to spend all this money for technology and testing for one. And that's not necessarily a benefit either.
And I can tell you for a fact, a team like ours can't do it. We don't test. We can't test. We don't have the budget to test.
Look at Schumacher's didn't do a lot of testing this year.
But they still will be, they will be ahead. A Schumacher and a Coletta and a Force will be ahead of a team like ours because even if they're not running the car down the racetrack, at their facilities, they've got clutch dynos. They've got supercharger dynos. They have all those things. We don't have any.
No, but I'm just talking about even expenses. Even they had to go, hey, whoa, you know, we can't do everything we want to do, and that's a big powerhouse team, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we got a lot more to talk about. We're just getting started. We weren't even supposed to talk about any of that. But we'll get all to the other stuff we're going to talk about when we come back, so stay with us here. Hey, race fans, it's Ralph Shaheen, and like you, I have a huge passion for racing. With the most in-depth features on racers, series, and events, no one covers racing better than America's original motorsports publication, Speed Sport. Get your subscription to Speed Sport magazine today at speedsport.com.
Race to the championship is coming through the desert. It's the Blue Green Vacations 500 NASCAR semifinal race weekend at Phoenix's ISM Raceway. Now, after a $178 million modernization project, it's more personal than ever. With access that gets you into the infield and NASCAR garages and even closer to the cars and drivers. Don't miss the Blue Green Vacations 500 semifinal race weekend at ISM Raceway, November 8th through the 10th. Lock in your seats now at ismraceway.com.
Join Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
But I mean, I don't know how to summarize it any better that, you know, a driver's home track where his family and friends are all present just feels like a bigger event.
Hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders and much more.
I mean, when people come up to me all the time and say, hey, Rusty, who's going to win this week? I consistently say the 4-car.
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
Back with more of MRN's A Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Clay Millican, our guest here in the studio, because all the racers are here in the Charlotte area getting ready for the big races over there at ZMAX Dragway.
Bellagio of drag strips.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. We were supposed to talk about some other stuff in that first segment, so let's at least get one of them in. You've spent some time in front of Congress, and for the right reasons.
Absolutely. I mean, we had this on the car at Bristol, Your Car, Your Data. And what that is all about, new cars, whether people realize it or not, the newer cars are getting to the point that anything that car is gathering information-wise, and I think people would be shocked, is now getting to the point that your local shop will not be able to access that information. So the manufacturers are keeping it. And essentially what's going to happen is you're going to have to take your car to a dealership if things keep going the way they're going. And here's some of the information that new cars are gathering that people don't even realize. Your car knows what you weigh. It obviously knows what you're listening to. When you plug your phone in, it knows who you're calling. And all that is being essentially Bluetoothed into the sky, and the manufacturers are taking that. They know how fast you drive. They know how you use your brakes. And obviously, everybody here is very involved with safe driving, but I don't want the manufacturers taking all of my information and selling it to outside parties without my knowledge.
So even GPS-wise, they know which parking lots you went to, which tells them which stores you went in and so forth.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, my biggest concern, being sponsored by Parts Plus, obviously, is the car care centers. And not just the Parts Plus car care centers. This is an initiative that
eliminate all the little guys.
Eliminate all the little guys, exactly. If it keeps going the way it's going. So Your Car, Your Data is put together, by all of the parts people and car care centers all over the country. This is not just a Parts Plus thing. This is a nation thing. There's millions of jobs, whether it's parts manufacturing or mechanics, everything involved with it. If it keeps going the way it's going, those guys are going to be in trouble. And so, I was lucky enough to get involved through Parts Plus with the Auto Care Association to, go to Congress. I mean, it was myself, Blake Alexander, who's, another parts manufacturer sponsored, Pronto, Chase Elliott, that's Napa. So all of these people are working together, which is a rare thing for those guys are competing.
Goal here.
Got a common goal. They're competing to sell parts, and we went to Congress and we met with some different congressmen, and we just got to let Congress know, hey, this is happening. You're in jeopardizing of millions and millions of jobs.
Well, and just the data, my information. I don't necessarily want you to know all that.
Exactly.
I don't want you to know how many times I call Herbert.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
I don't want people knowing that. That's scary enough as it is.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what they're doing. But I mean, just think about all the stuff you do in your car that you just assume, hey, it's just me. I'm in my car. I'm doing my thing, and that's such an American
world,
thing,
right? Yeah, we look at that as kind of our happy space.
Absolutely.
Right? Cocoon.
How many times are you blowing the horn and slamming the brake zone because somebody's in the left lane and they shouldn't be? Or whatever it is.
It's just an invasion of privacy.
Exactly, it's an invasion of privacy is what it is. And I mean, our concern is we need people to be able to take their car to the shop they've always taken it to and have their mechanic fix their car. And the manufacturers will say, oh, we're not denying access to that, but the shops are having to pay the manufacturers
to get
that data. And if it keeps going, then there will be no access.
Wow.
And so we're just it's an initiative to get in front of Congress to say, hey, this is not right. And being a racer, we love the manufacturers. We need the manufacturers involved, and obviously we all got to have manufacturers, and even brakes, with Kia and all that.
Yeah.
We got to have those guys, but they got to be able to continue to let things kind of be the way they are, so that the individual person can fix their car.
Right.
Get the information out of their car. Aside from the information that they're selling to outside parties that has nothing to do with your car,
Right.
It's
That's the part that I see as the biggest.
Right.
Biggest part of the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, there's always the, you've got your scanner and, plugs into the OBD.
Yeah.
You're going to always have to pay for updates. Probably the car guys don't care that much about that until it becomes a total monopoly where
That's
they
gone.
jack the price way up.
Yep.
Then that's a problem. But the personal data, it's like, what the heck?
Yep.
Selling it to
I don't
you know,
need
it's
them
like
knowing how
Google.
much I weigh.
Mimi and I were talking about Windows or something the other day, and all of a sudden on my computer, I start getting ads for Windows, and I'm like, I didn't search on the computer. I didn't nothing. Somebody knew I was talking about Windows.
Where were you when you were having that conversation?
Just at home. At home we're talking about
man.
we're talking about the crack house.
Yeah.
That's a story for another
Yeah.
day. The crack. Why it's
They're
called
listening
the crack house.
right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
The
I was
Google Box
scary.
thing.
I'm gonna have window ads on my phone. when I
Right,
leave here.
right, right. Well, we should talk about your sponsor then, so they start posting that stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
that's-
Your car, your data.
yeah.
It's-
So when you went in front of Congress, because I've had to do that too for SEMA, I was invited to go speak about the RPM Act, which is a whole other crazy thing. What was that experience like for you? Because it was wild for me. I mean,
Well, I didn't actually speak in front of Congress. We had meetings with individual congressmen is what we did. And believe it or not, it's kind of so funny being the country boy that I am. That's the second time I've been to D.C. this year. The first time I went with Steve Torrance and NHRA about things that are happening to the racetracks. And so we're this last trip, I'm walking down the hall at Capitol Hill, and here comes Congressman Watkins from Topeka, Kansas area. And he's like, "Hey, good to see you again." I'm like, man, I'm walking through the halls of Congress and they know who I am.
as long as they know you for the right reasons, Clay, that's the
yeah,
important thing when you're in there.
Exactly. But it's really neat and an eye-opening experience to kind of see how things work at Capitol Hill, and I somewhat understand why everything takes so long. That is a very, very busy place. I mean, you've got to have a meeting, and you got to have someone with you to get you in, and I mean it's a lot to it. But those guys are busy. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, no matter which side of the aisle you reside on, it's interesting to see how your government works.
It really is.
Up close and behind the scenes.
I didn't know. I didn't understand it. Now I do a little more than I did.
How about racing? Let's talk a little bit about racing.
okay.
Some news in the NHRA world this week. Clay and I were talking about it earlier. Alexis DeJoria coming back out for next season. Nikki Bonifani, Del Worsham.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like wherever they go, they win.
And she's going full time. Are you surprised by that?
Not really. I mean, Alexis, no different than this guy right here. Excuse me. If he could hop back in a car, he would. This
I have to lose some weight. That's
Well,
the problem.
Yeah, is that what your car's telling you?
we go to lunch. Yeah, we went to lunch. Clay eats half a hamburger, and I eat the hamburger and the fries and all that. And I'm thinking,
well, hey, you did eat a salad.
Well, that's true.
Champion mode, non-champion mode, right? Kind of thing.
But I'm not surprised Alexis is coming back. I mean, she's a good race car driver, and I think she just, took a break to spend some time with her kids, which is awesome. And I think she's kind of coming back on her own terms.
Great for the sport.
It is. It's really, really good. I mean, she obviously looks up to Dale Worsham and Nikki Bonifant, and those are the guys that she kind of learned from, and they're doing their own thing. I talked to Dale just a little bit last night, and I know he's fired up and excited about it. I'm anxious just to see, those two guys kind of on their own, not part of the Kalitta Motorsports deal. It's going to be interesting. I'm quite sure they'll still probably work with Kalitta, but they're doing it. It's not going to be, at Kalitta's shop. It's going to be at Dale's shop. And I mean, it's awesome. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it is too. Independent team going out there and doing it on their own in the world of multi-car teams. I think it is cool. And those two guys they're great guys. They've worked together a lot, and also with Alexis a lot too. So it'll be a great team. Great to see a new car. Great to see a new
fantastic
face. Yeah.
Just looking at the weather here, Clay. Friday 80 degrees, bright sunshine. Saturday 84, cloud here or there. Sunday right now 40% chance, and temps down in 71. So that's going to change quite a bit from what you're doing qualifying to what you're doing racing. How does this track change when it comes to weather like that?
Well, I think Friday night will set pretty much the field, as far as the top cars go. I was kind of looking at the weather earlier. While it's 80s in the daytime, I mean, we're looking at in the 50s at night. So I think I can't remember what time we run on Friday, but that'll be the home run session as per normal. We've got to qualify a little better. Those races I was talking about we've lost by double O's is qualifying's got a lot to do with that. We've kind of been in that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th spot the last few races.
Yep.
Another thing that Doug and I talked about off the air is clutch disc, and that's been a little bit of our performance problem. I mean, the engine's been happy. You know, we hadn't been hurting parts, but we've lost a little bit of performance for clutch disc because we had to make a change. You know, and that's a lot to do with the small team deal again. But Friday night's important. To answer your question, you know, the qualifying in the 80s, a little bit cooler on Sunday, you know, then it's a crew chief's game. Because when you have a big temperature change, you know, that's not a driver thing. It's a driver comfort thing when it cools off and you got all that fire suit on, all that stuff. But the crew chiefs can get the hammer out Sunday when it cools off.
Got it. Okay. Well, we're going to come back and talk a lot more drag racing right after this here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For 5 decades, the Motor Racing Network has been the voice of NASCAR. And now, it's time to tell our story.
They are in turn 2 in front of Mike Joy.
With help from some of the sport's iconic voices.
Oh, crap! And I spin around.
Here comes Richard Petty.
I'm Fred Armstrong. Join me for MRN's newest podcast series. MRN Presents 50 Years, the voice of NASCAR. Available for download on MRN.com. And wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Veteran drivers and rookie drivers. NASCAR Today Midday keeps you up to date with all your favorites each weekday.
It's a dream come true. A lot of you know the path that I've gone down.
There's a lot of opportunity with the package changes, you know, with the Chevrolet and the work they're putting in. And I know one thing's for sure, it's good to have my name on the top of the Cup car.
Don't miss any of the breaking NASCAR news with NASCAR Today Midday. Only on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
NHRA drag racer Doug Herbert here to talk about safe driving. In early 2008, my 2 sons were killed in a car accident that was caused by speeding and inexperience. After the accident, I learned that over 6,000 teenagers each year are killed in car accidents, so I formed a nonprofit organization called Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. Please visit our website at putonthebrakes.org to learn more about responsible driving and what you can do to keep our roads safe.
Welcome back to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Shaheen, Doug Herbert, Clay Millican here with you in the studio. We have a guest on the line, but we're also going to be giving away some Hercules tires. You like free stuff, right?
Love free stuff.
Yeah. We give away a free set of Hercules tires every month. You just go to HerculesTire.com. That's all I got to do, Clay. HerculesTire.com/MRN. You can sign up and you can win some tires. Probably won't fit your top fuel car, but maybe personal vehicle back home.
Absolutely. That's a good deal.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
Every month. That's all you got to do. Speaking of champions, joining us on the line, Erica Enders. Hello and welcome.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
We are doing great, and obviously you're doing really solid in the points. Just 11 markers down to Jason Line as we head into Charlotte. You ready to put it to him here, I would guess?
I really am. We've had some success here at Charlotte before. Obviously one of our favorite tracks, and I'm excited to get back at it. We've got 4 left, and we really have to make them count.
Hey, Erica, that Elite Performance Camaro is running so good. Rick Jones, your whole team has the thing running good, and it's been running good, but it seems like something's happened here, especially in the last few weeks. It's clicking a little bit better.
You're right. We had some interesting part failure issues that I feel like we've identified and fixed, and, you know, we were just losing crazy races because of stupid things happening. So when everything just started to come together, we located the problem and fixed it. You know, it started back in Seattle where we started to just kind of put things together, and then Brainerd is where the tide really turned for us, and we were able to runner up there, obviously runner up Indy, and then win us a race finally in St. Louis a couple weeks ago. So I hope that is the tide turning for us. The luck has switched to our side. We've been in a pretty low valley for a long period of time, and we're climbing our way back out, and I hope it sticks for these last 4.
Well, Erica, I got to tell you, I'm so proud of how you drive the race car. In the last, I guess it's been a year and a half, you've had a lot of runner-ups, and Indy was absolutely heartbreaking, but you are unbelievable behind the wheel. I'm so proud of everything you've done. You didn't let that Indy heartbreak keep you down. I mean, and you just crush the tree and you crush everybody. And now the car seems to be with you. I mean, Richard Freeman and all those guys chase everybody. I mean, is there been any one thing, or has it just been a kind of a combination of things where now the car is kind of catching up to where you've been all year?
Well, thanks for the compliment. We all try our best every single time, and I obviously really pride myself on my driving and work really hard on my reaction time stuff, and that's, as you know, where races are won and lost. And but my guys, I have the same core group that I started with here at Elite Motorsports 6 years ago, and I think that speaks volumes for our program. And but yeah, the guys really seem to have gotten a handle on the car. We've had some interesting rule changes that threw us for a little bit of a loop, especially with the new tire, just trying to figure out how to get our chassis to work with it. And that's kind of why you saw us struggle for quite some time. But my crew chiefs, Rick Jones and Mark Ingersoll, Ricky Jones, Lump, all of them, they work together, and they've just been tearing it up, man. And it is so cool to see, and most importantly, hear the confidence in their voice, like in my helmet while I'm in the race car, because that obviously in turn gives me confidence, and I'm able to do my job a little bit better because I'm not so worried about outside things happening. So I feel like it's coming together at the right time, and they're giving me a really great car, and now it's on my shoulders to drive it to the winner's circle.
Erica, just before we went on the air, you and Clay were talking a little bit, reminiscing about how you guys have supported our troops in the past. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how it continues to impact you.
Oh, man, it was probably top 3 coolest experiences of my entire life. I was raised in a military family. My dad fought in Vietnam and retired Air Force. So we have all the respect in the world for those guys, obviously. But when I wasn't driving full-time, Pro Sports MVP asked me to be one of their guests along with Clay Millican and Bill Burkhart and Jeremy Mayfield. And we were able to go over to Kuwait and then Iraq for a couple of weeks. It was a pretty lengthy trip, but some of the most cool, also scary, crazy experiences ever. But it just gives you a whole new respect, even though we already had it, just to be able to see that side of things. Because over here, you only hear and see what the media wants you to, and being able to experience it firsthand with those guys was awesome. I mean, we got to eat where they ate, sleep where they slept. We got to fire their weapons. They were really cool. Like, we swapped. They want to hear race car stories. We want to hear war stories. So it was just a really neat experience.
It really was. I mean, I grew up in basically a military town. Millington, Tennessee is where I go to town, world's largest inland naval base forever. And I thought I was patriotic, and I was, but I think Erica will agree to this. Once you see what our troops are doing, your respect and your patriotism just goes through the roof. It was a life-changing experience for me. I'm with Erica, top 3 for sure. We could tell stories for hours. Her and I went through some of the most unbelievable things that, you just can't describe what it was like. I mean, you agree with that, Erica?
I do, for sure.
Hey, talking about troop things, too. I'm sorry, Erica.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Talking about troop things, too. You guys all know my sister. She just got promoted to lieutenant colonel in the Army last week. She got promoted to a lieutenant colonel. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's a Jaguar in the Army. And you've all met her and seen her before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, my little sister's a badass.
Yes.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I got sidetracked on there. Sorry, Erica.
That's something
but we were
to be
talking
proud
about
of.
tough girls, and we got Eric on the phone,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about my sister,
Yeah, that's great. That is great.
But I mean, we saw things, we experienced things that, without being in a war zone, you would never experience. So for me, like I say, it just changed my whole perspective of what I thought was already held in very high esteem to begin with.
Yeah.
Erica, you're second in points. You're the most recent winner. You got the momentum. You're the only one that can go back-to-back this weekend. You've won championships before. What's it going to take to finish this thing out and get it done?
Man, it's just going to take putting our heads down and going to work and just executing the best that we can, not letting any outside distractions in. We've got to make as few errors as humanly possible. I mean, the entire field is so close ET-wise, and again, a lot of races are won with the clutch pedal, but having a consistent race car that is doing exactly what we tell it to at the time is huge. And then also, as y'all know, momentum's huge in this game. So we'll take that and see if we can run with it.
Erica, I know you love football. How do you deal with your fantasy football team on Sundays while you're trying to think about winning this championship?
Well, my sister's way better at that than I am, so she hooks it up for sure.
Going into Charlotte, I know this has been one of your tracks that you've had very good success at the weekend. Is going back to that track, going back to one that's really comfortable like that, kind of a little bit of a boost?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we actually were talking about this on the plane ride over here, was that these next few tracks on the tour are tracks that we have a lot of data at, are tracks that we have had a lot of success at in the past. So I'm glad that those are the next few that are in a row. Charlotte, Dallas, Vegas. I love Vegas. We had a ton of success there, and that's better for your confidence booster than maybe going to a track like, for instance, Reading, who I don't think in 15 years of pro stock racing I've ever been past the second round. So all of these next tracks are great, and I'm excited to get after it. I feel like it's like 2015 again. When we came to Charlotte, it was the first race of the countdown in 15, and we were able to win that and started off the countdown on the right foot. But just everything feels the same again, and I'm hopeful that we can carry it through like we did then.
I got a quick question. I've always pretty much been a single car team, and how much? And this is kind of a normal question, I guess, but how big a benefit, and it may be hard to answer, how big a benefit is it having a teammate? Obviously, you got a couple of good ones, especially, Jeggy and Alex Austin, Do you like having teammates, I guess, is my real question.
Well, I do, for a lot of reasons. Going back to 14, it was just us in our car. So we were a single car team out there competing with the juggernauts, and it was really intense and crazy. And as much as I love that small little family group, like, it's grown tremendously, and this is a dream of Richard Freeman's that he's built, and now having all these cars and engine leasing customers, and helping Pro Stock along to the point where we're exceeding 20 entries a race, which is huge. I do enjoy the teammate aspect of it, because having somebody like Jed Coughlin, who in my mind is probably one of the best drivers our sport has ever seen in any Pro Stock or any sportsman class, to be able to work hand in hand with him on clutch linkage and setup for race day, and we are pretty similar in our driving techniques, and then on the crew chief side, being able to have all of that shared data, because our cars are set up the same, and we're able to essentially test and try different things with 4, 5, 6 cars out there, and then implement them everything that works the best on all of our cars. So it definitely has its benefits.
So next year they announced the Pro Stock schedule is going to be a little bit different than this year. Did you have a chance to really look through it and see how you think it'll be better or worse for your season next year?
I have. I'm excited that, well, first of all, we're going back to my home track in Houston. At least I drove some Pro Mod races this year to where I didn't have to miss any races except for Epping. But I'm excited to go back to Houston because it's my home. Bristol is my favorite track on the entire tour. I love racing there. It's just great fans, great atmosphere, really cool scenery at the racetrack. But I think NHRA is going to try to go back to the races that we missed in Pro Stock last year, and they're just always going to try to cycle them through. So we're not sitting out, just this race every single year, and the fans miss out on Pro Stock, because they did admit that they got some hate mail from the fans at the track that we didn't hit last year. So, and that, having said that, we had like a 5-week break in Pro Stock. So it was like going from racing almost every weekend to having a month and a half break. And then getting back in the car, it kind of felt like odd. I didn't been driving the Pro Mod car at all of the races that we missed. So it was definitely different. It's like getting back on a bike, but still it was weird. So this coming year is going to be more spaced out, and we won't miss so many in a row. So that'll be good.
Well, Erica, thanks for joining us. We sure appreciate it. The most recent winner on the NHRA Pro Stock Tour, Eric Enders. Good luck this weekend. Bring home the win and grab the points lead.
Sounds good to me, Doug. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you this weekend.
Yes, you will. We look forward to seeing you out there. All right, Erica Enders joining us. Stay with us. We'll be back to wrap up MRN's The Straight Line.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
Jeff Gordon has come from virtually nowhere.
He's one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
For the 93rd time in his career.
A pioneering champion.
Be at the right place at the right time.
The kid who took on the good old boys and changed NASCAR.
We started to go toe-to-toe from Earnhardt.
MRN presents a 10-part podcast series that traces Jeff Gordon's rise to NASCAR legend. Jeff Gordon, the colorful career of the Rainbow Warrior. Available now at MRN.com and your favorite podcast source.
Before you know it, we'll be crowning the 2019 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup champion in Miami. You need to be there to witness Ford Championship Weekend, November 15th through the 17th at Homestead Miami Speedway. 3 days, 3 races, 3 NASCAR champions.
What a year for Joey Logano, and he caps it off with a win at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Pick out the best seats in the house for the pinnacle race of the 2019 NASCAR season in South Florida. Call 866-409-7223. That's 866-409-RACE.
Back for a little bit more of MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's been a lot of fun. We just had Erica Enders on the show. Hope you enjoyed hearing from her, Ralph Shaheen, Doug Herbert, and, of course, our buddy Clay Millican as we wrap things up. You're going to be real busy next couple of weeks because there's a lot of races yet to go. We've got Charlotte this week, and then it's,
Dallas.
Enos, Texas,
Yep.
and then Vegas, and then making your way out to Pomona to wrap this whole season up.
Just got to turn on some more wind lights, move ourselves up, and hopefully, roll into Pomona. All we can ask for is a shot at the championship, and we just got to get that done the next few races.
Well, in Pomona, there's points and a half, so you can actually make more ground up at Pomona if, like we were saying a second ago, you're in 10th in points, but it's like you haven't had a 10th place car all year.
No.
So just kind of get where you need to be and then get some breaks, and it could put you there.
I mean, absolutely. That points and a half changes everything. They do that at Indy, and it took us from, I think we were third in points down to 6th or 7th, the points and a half deal.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can use that to our advantage at the end of the season.
Well, if you'd like to see any of those races live and in person, just go to NHRA.com, click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner, get yourself some tickets, come on out to the races. We're all going to be out at Charlotte this weekend for the event at ZMAX Dragway. We should also talk about the brakes function.
Big Brakes Gala on Saturday night. Clay's coming. The theme is Great Gatsby, so we'll be dressed up like gangsters. Felix is going to bring his Duesenberg and park it out front. So that'll be fun. Hopefully, I'll get to drive it over there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
should be a great time. Should be a great weekend all the way around.
It will be great. It will be busy, but it will be great. I know you're.
I'll be at the races. We'll be out there. Red light. Here's a look at the event you just saw posted up there. If people want to participate.
Saturday night, Quail Hollow Club. Go to Put on the Brakes website. Probably a couple seats left, but it'll be filled up for sure by the time we go. So
all the stars.
Looking forward to.
It's such a fun event.
It's fun.
It
is really, really fun. Meet people, raising money for a good cause. Everybody, we know why we're raising money. We're saving kids' lives, and
absolutely,
it's important. So go to putonthebrakes.org, check it out. And if you're in the Charlotte area, you're here for the races, come on over. Meet Clay Millican in person.
It'll be way more there than just me. It's always like a who's who there, and not just from the drag racing world, from the NASCAR world, and I mean, it's people from all over. I enjoy the event. It's always so much fun, and then some of the bidding just becomes like
crazy,
exciting.
It's fun,
It's like it becomes this whole craziness on some of the awesome auction items that are up there.
Is there a way for people to
dressing
bid if
up?
they're
And the
not
dressing
there?
up is fun. Yeah, we do. Go to the website, and there's a link to the bidding. We'll have bidding for live and silent auction.
So even if they can't attend, they can still participate.
Absolutely. And some of the fun stuff. So every year, the last few years, we've been doing a theme. We had a disco theme a few years ago, and Clay and Donna came in. I almost didn't recognize him. He looked like Ozzy Osbourne, and she looked like another
Cher or somebody.
I'm thinking Mercedes-Benz, what's her name?
Janis Joplin.
She looked like Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
She looked like Janis Joplin. I mean, I was like, whoa, and Jimmo came in. I didn't even recognize him at all. He had the big hair, stuff going on.
That's
and
awesome.
it's fun. So this Great Gatsby thing will be fun. And, everybody just kind of gets together, has a little fun. There's no pressure. And to watch the rich guys bid on cool auction items. Felix is donating a week in his boat, a week boat trip. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fun. I mean, there's like a crew on the boat. You don't you don't do anything, You're out in the water and you need a drink. Somebody will swim out there and bring you it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Okay.
Just all the things. I don't remember
I don't
all
bid
of
on
our
that stuff. I can't get there.
If they take like a third-party out-of-state check or something, they won't do that.
We also have some red light, green light for you, and it's a green light. That was basically part of our red light, green light too, just a brakes function, same kind of thing. There's another event in and around the races coming up, Texas Motorplex over in Enos, Texas, which will be the next round on the schedule. It's date night out on Saturday, October 19th at the Texas Motorplex. And you think, okay, well, that's pretty cool. This is really cool. It's part of the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, and they're trying to take 75, I'm looking at the press release here, 75 military, veteran, and first responder couples out on a free date night to the drag races.
Wow, that's cool. And everybody will remember cool? Chris Kyle, the American sniper. Just neat, and it seems like Torrance family has been pretty supportive of the Chris Kyle Foundation
Steve's a big
for some
part
time.
of it. Yeah.
So really, really neat. Yeah, it's just give them the opportunity to go to the drag races and have a little bit of fun. Just as you and Erica were talking earlier, right? They're out doing incredibly dangerous and very hard, intense work to basically, make us so we can do what we want to do.
Yeah, so it's great. The Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, the folks out there at Texas Motorplex getting together, putting this all together. Steve Torrance helping out. 75 couples, military veterans, first responders, being able to go out and enjoy a date night at the races, which I think is just fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to hand it. I love beating Stevie, and he loves beating me, but they're good people, and I think that's pretty awesome what they're doing with the Chris Kyle deal. That's awesome.
Just supporting armed forces is super. I was, as we were saying earlier, I'm only Army by relation from my sister, So, but that's neat. Being able to go to some of the events I've went with for her, and like you say, go. It makes you're so patriotic. Going and seeing the sacrifices that are made for us is super neat. Little bit of sad news that has happened. Clay lost his mama. Recently. And what a neat lady, as competitive as we were over the years. Your mom was she was nicer than you.
Oh, absolutely. So I got to tell this right quick. I know we're running out of time. So right after me and Doug had our little girl shoving match thing that we had, we were at Memphis and Mama came and me and him aren't speaking to each other. And I don't mean like a little bit, like we're not speaking at all. And Mama, I'm a little guy. Mama was smaller than me. She literally like goes over and kind of grabs him by the fire suit, and she grabs me, and she's like, "You two boys got to act right." And Doug, you're way too big to be picking on my boy anyway, So, but she did. She was just she was a saint on this planet, and all boys love their mama. And this is a fact, though. I've got so many cool stories about her. Beside being my mom, being essentially a lady that helped other people all the time. And that was her life. She worked at the little grocery store. You would get a ham sandwich and you'd get your problem solved because she was just such an awesome spirit about her. She was a saint on this planet, without a doubt.
Well, we're all thinking of you on that, and it was great to have gotten to know her, and I'm sure she's very, very proud of you.
Oh, without a doubt, I know she is. She's proud of all of us. That's for sure.
Good. Okay. Well, that wraps it up for us this week here on MRN's Straight Line. We're going to go racing this weekend here in Charlotte. If you're around, come on up and say hello, huh?
That's going to be some fast races this weekend. We were just talking about the weather. Cars like this kind of weather. Don't miss ZMX Dragway, the Bellagio drag strip.
Stomp on that loud pedal.
Thanks for joining us, Clay.
Glad to be here, guys, always.
And thanks, Eric Enders, for tuning in as well and joining us on the show. Doug Herbert, Clay Millican, I'm Ralph Shaheen. Thanks for joining us. See you out the races.